everyone, welcome back to Inside the Fort. My name is Rafael Parsacala. If this is your first time joining us, Inside the Fort is a series of casual interviews with the True Fort team where they talk a little bit about themselves and all the crazy work they do behind the scenes. Joining us today is Becker Jørgensen, our CISO and VP of Product. He has lots of experience in the network and security industry. He's worked at companies such as Verizon, SBAB Bank, and Ericsson. He's got a lot of great experience with leadership roles. So our conversation today is going to cover topics such as coaching, self-leadership, and learning how to know yourself. That last bit is really important. So it's good that we're covering that. Mads, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Hello, Rafael. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, and I really look forward to this conversation.
Yeah, likewise. Me too. Let's get started then. So can you tell me about what you do at True Fort?
Absolutely. I have two roles at True Fort. The first role is Chief Information Security Officer, where I'm handling governance risk and compliance, making sure that we are meeting best practices, making sure that we fulfill a certain standard that we're aiming at meeting in the market, making sure that all compliance we have towards our operational duties we have in our services, cloud services, and security deliverables to our customers, that those things are essentially getting fulfilled. Then, of course, a part of the risk management and the daily security governance, all these kind of things is actually being handled there as well. On the other side, I also have a job as a vice president of product, meaning that I am working with customers, I'm working with high-level strategy to really figure out what is it in the market we need to adapt to in order to become more competitive and more higher and more meaningful product than what we already are. So yeah, that is what I spend a lot of my time within True Fort.
Great, yeah. You got two positions. You have lots of experience, even in the past prior to True Fort. One of the things that you've honed on in that we've talked about, and just looking at your LinkedIn resume, is coaching, right? Can you talk about why coaching is something you've decided to do consistently throughout the years?
Absolutely. Coaching is a fantastic tool in many ways. So let's talk about a little bit what coaching is and what it is not. A lot of people say that I'm a coach and I've been coaching for many years, et cetera, et cetera. My learnings about coaching have really come down to the point of it is a process where you help people facilitating an internal process with themselves in order to make them grow over time.
Interesting.
Personal growth, creating insights, creating motivation, creating passion, creating desire to do certain things, obviously. So in order to really figure out what coaching is and what it's not, that's pretty easy. A lot of people have a tendency to think that coaching is the same as mentorship, or it's the same as being a therapist, or it's the same as being a trainer, or it's the same as being a consultant, etc. There are a lot of roles out there where those people, they say what they do is coaching. I do not agree with that. I do agree with that those roles can become coaches and can do coaches in itself, but it is not the same as the native work that they actually do. So coaching has stick with me for a very long time, because when you work with people, it is very easy that it is very easy to see when you work with people whether they're passionate or not, whether they're really engaged into the work that they do, and whether they're really whether they really decide to have a certain outcome and certain goals to fulfill. And if they don't have that, then what do you do then? So here it is, having those meaningful conversation with your employees and with your colleagues and even with your managers of what is it they are trying to achieve, what is it I'm trying to achieve, what is it that we want to achieve together. So having this cross-collaborative tool where you either can do individual coaching, group coaching, or leadership coaching is obviously super valuable in many ways. Why is it important? I do think it is important to facilitate a process that everyone can recognize and you can participate in, either by yourself or together with other people to really make sure that it is not only the academic part of our roles that we actually fulfill, but also a deeper, more meaningful journey together as a company,
Right.
and in the teams that you'll be working in.
Definitely. Yeah. Can you talk about the moment you knew that coaching was going to be a passion of yours?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been a trainer in different sports, everything from swimming to freediving, strength training, and so on.
Oh, wow.
And so some of the insights I received through my work has been that it's very easy to tell people what to do, to show them techniques, to in order to get them insight into how to do their sport and excel over time. However, what's really interesting is though, when people reach a certain level where they start competing or where they have to achieve very difficult goals through the sport that they do, technique and hard training is really not enough. You need to have a core belief in the meaning of what you're trying to do, meaning that the goal you're trying to achieve has to be meaningful. You have to have a certain internal reference for you. Why am I doing this? So this is all about the why. Why is it I am doing this I'm doing, and why is this important to you? What is it I'm going to gain from then when I have achieved my why? And that's the same not only for athletes, but it is also the same for people that are passionate that work in a company. They have to have a why as well. If they don't have a why, then it becomes something, let's say, less meaningful. They go in every day at work and then they just do the what without having an understanding of why. And
Sure,
I think
yeah.
connecting the why and the what is obviously important. When you do that, something magical happen. And I think coaching can help providing this magical spark, this passion, this deeper desire of achieving something, both individually, but also as a team.
Yeah, definitely. In all your years of coaching, was there like a story or a time that stuck out with you that maybe like taught you a lesson with your idea of coaching?
Yeah, there have been several, but there's definitely one that really set the frame, I would say. 10 years ago, no, that's even longer time now. It's probably 15 years ago. I was working as a freedive coach in Copenhagen in one of the university sports clubs that I was teaching in, and we had this team that was where I was teaching underwater activities, so freediving as we called it, and a lot of the people there advanced very, very fast, and they were very good at what they were doing. So over time, a lot of people, as they start going to more international competitions and starting competing on a national level, etc., it became very evident that some of them start having the question about the why, especially when you start holding your breath underneath water and swimming along, etc., etc. So you can imagine that, for instance, if you would have to become a national champion back then, you probably would have to hold your breath around 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. And for those people, there were many of them were around 5 minutes. And I said, well, you need to work with yourself. You need to go in and really start committing in, relaxing in, trying to remember why you're doing this. And some of the people were saying, yeah, why is it I am doing this, right? And a lot of them were then asking me, Matt, how do you do it? Because you come and tell me what I need to do, and I'm trying to do it, but I can't really make it work. Yeah. So at this point, I could feel that I had a fatigue. I had a significant challenge in really trying to explain people what it is they need to do. And some of the people said, Matt, of what you do, if it is so easy, why don't you do it yourself? And at that point, I was kind of put, on the point of no return, in meaning that I had to, I had to really think deep, and that's kind of difficult when you have like 16 people in front of you. So at the same time, I did feel comfortable enough to say, no, I didn't want to do it. But at the same time, I also had this epiphany. So, well, you know what? They're right. What is it I need to learn? So I actually said, yes, I want to do this. And we kind of set up the rules for engagement. So what I did was that I went out, I made my own plan, I did the training, and that was a lot of learnings in that journey where I figured out that there was a lot of the why am I doing as I'm doing to really achieve the what. And after half a year, I think half a year, 8 months around those terms, after been going to multiple competitions, training really hard, completely prioritizing my schedule, taking a lot of the things out I was doing and only focusing on the things I needed to do. I actually managed to qualify for the World Championship at that point.
You did it. That's nice.
Yeah, I did. However, the insight though was among other things that it is very difficult to reach the why. I mean, the bottom, the core in the belief in let's say the internal reference from why is it I am doing this. And basically, I think it is self-discovery is obviously one of the things. We always want to see what is it I am made of? What is it that made me better? Can I really do these kind of things? And what is it when I get there? What is it I'm going to see? What is it I'm going to feel? How am I going to see the world, right? I mean, all people have different wishes and different beliefs and different ideas of why they're doing it as it is they're doing it, why it is important to them. However, they're mostly not aware. And asking the questions, going into the coaching, having a process where I am a vehicle carrying the individual by asking questions from A to C and making them realize why they're doing as they're doing is super important. It's a very powerful tool to have.
Yeah, like trying to establish that why is the idea of a why, the idea of a reason can be really difficult because it's kind of your own job to do that, right? And one of the things that I got from that story that you just told was that they were also establishing trust, right? Trying to establish some sort of means of trust. Correct me if I'm wrong, but can you?
No, you're absolutely right. No, absolutely. So I mean, one of the things that's also why, I obviously realized that if I'm a trainer just standing there and demanding a lot of things for people to do without bringing significant meaning, that I can't explain or can demonstrate that I can't show, the question is, am I then able, right?
Yeah.
Am I really able? I mean, do I have expertise in what I do? Can I provide result? Can I provide effectiveness in what I do? So trust for me, there's an ABCD of trust, where A stands for able. That's what's the first one I said. Being able is all about creating expertise, result, and effectiveness. B is it's all about being believable, honesty, providing significant personal values, being fair to those you're working with. Connectedness is C, which is all about demonstrating caring, willingness, interest in others through my working with them. So that means that here we're talking about benevolence, communication, rapport, all these kind of things, leadership skills that you have to have, meaning, that you're not afraid of being personal with people, you're not afraid of giving out of yourself, right? Then we have obviously the last one, which is all about D, which is being dependable. So here it is, you honor the commitment. So for me, for my part in the past anecdote, that was that I am going to do it. I am going to do everything I can to honor that commitment I had. And if I fail, that's fine. I will tell them that I failed. So to me, a very big part of that thing was, why am I doing it? The why was really to figure out, what am I made of? What do I need to realize in order to do this journey? Not so much to actually get to the competitive event, but more of actually figuring out what is it I need to do in order to get there myself. So I think that a very big part of that is understanding what trust is obviously very much about. So reliability, accountability, responsiveness when you're working with people, that's really what dependability is all about. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems that in taking that challenge that your students challenge you to, in my
Yeah.
opinion, regardless, even if you succeeded or not, I feel like checks out all of those boxes of, ability, to being able for them to believe, be connected to you, and then to depend on you, even regardless if you went through it or not. But because you got it, you were able to do it anyway. Right. Now, moving on from trust, right? So, do you have any more guiding principles that are fundamental to your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, I do. I think one of the big things, what I love about a lot of people that comes to me and see coaching either on work or outside of work when I am working voluntarily in volunteer activity is obviously a lot of these people, they have dreams, right?
Sure.
So I think that being able to dream, have, regardless whether it is daydreaming or it is, let's say, higher dreams of achieving certain things, I think they're very important, because they kind of tell you something about yourself, right? And if you stop dreaming, who do you become then? So
Mm,
I do think that dreaming have this magical thing. It allows you to be completely unrealistic, meaning that, maybe I want to fly to Mars. I mean, look at some of the tech people we have in the industry right now. Some of them are dreaming about flying to Mars, and all people say, "Oh, you're crazy," right? But it is actually feasible. I mean, people have made engineering possible, have created companies that actually have made this possible at this point. So I do think that allowing people to dream and facilitate that through the coaching and saying, what is your dream? I mean, and then figuring out, do you really want to fight for this dream? Many
right.
dreams, they are not easily achievable. Many dreams, they're very difficult to achieve. That's why there are dreams.
Mm,
And that's also why for many people, they actually stay dreams and they never really become actualized.
yeah,
However, I have had the pleasure and have had the opportunity to help people realize their dreams in many ways, which is absolutely amazing.
that's great.
Um, so I think that never stop dreaming. That's super important. And then of course the last one is that I think our school system, the way we are being brought up today, there's a lot of conditioning in there, meaning that we are taught um, uh, to disbelieve our own abilities for many reasons,
Yeah,
everything from tutors to teachers to friends. Oh, you can't do that. Why would you believe you can do this and this and this? And here, one of the things I would say to people is that suspend disbelief, right? I mean, you have the complete ability to do whatever you want.
yeah,
It's all about putting your mind to it, train it, go over it, put it into organized schedule in order to figure out how you really gonna achieve this dream of yours, and then do it.
that's
And
huge. That's
that is possible. So yeah.
definitely. I love that. So just maybe taking from sort of previous conversations we had about coaching, and I think we touched on it even towards the beginning, but your ideas of coaching is tied to the idea of self-leadership very strongly. That's something that at least I got the impression of that you were very passionate about. Can you talk about what the biggest challenge is in discovering self-leadership and sort of nurturing self-leadership?
Absolutely. I love working with kids. Why is that? Is because most kids, they're leading themselves. They are self-leaders. For instance, when I'm trying to teach my daughter to build Lego, and I have to tell her, you have to follow the instructions. No, Dad, I don't need to do that.
Yeah,
She's
and she's right.
completely
And she's right. That's
yeah,
how
she is
that's how
right. She
you
is right. She is completely convinced that whatever outcome she will get from building whatever Lego set that I bought her, that she is going to be just as happy with that as with something else. Sometimes she even feels that I am spoiling the fun, because when you look at the Lego catalog and the instructions, you know what it's going to be. Whereas when you build it yourself, you don't know what you're going to end up with. You may have a picture of what it's going to be, and then you try to build it like that. But that's so. My point is, I think that coming back to the conditioning before, a lot of people, they actually lose the ability to hone in on and develop their own self-leadership. So a lot of people that come out of school have completely lost their own self-leadership, meaning that going after their dream, figuring out what they want to do out from what they really feel for, out from how they feel, and where their passion and where their true desire really is. And I think that self-leadership is also about realizing that you can't do anything that you really want. It's almost like, making, if you see a chessboard, you see all the different pawns, right? And people are different pawns. They actually understand that, if I am a king, I can only go one step in each direction I actually want. Whereas if I'm a queen, I can move anywhere I want as many steps as I want.
Yeah.
Now, self-leadership is all about realizing that I can do whatever I want, as long as I just put my mind to it and really put this plan into it. And then the other thing that self-leadership is very much about, it is also creating this very, very clear distinction between that you are not what you do, right? So people that do a lot of things over time, they have a tendency to believe that they become what they do. And is that true? Of course not. Of course not. It's not true. That means that if you believe that now I'm an engineer and I've been working as an engineer for 25 years now, I'm only an engineer. That's not true. I mean, you can essentially become anything that you want. But people have a tendency to forgetting that because you've done it so much. So you have created an identity in being an engineer, and going out of that and doing something else is very, very difficult. Yeah. So these are some of the things that you discover going through self-leadership, and among other things, starting with coaching, starting working heavily with coaching, opening it up, Pandora's box, start looking at what is in there, and then from that, start building your own self-leadership. And I think that is important. And I think that is any great leader today should help employees to facilitate that, to really make sure that they actually become what they really dream of.
Yeah, I love your definition I love the way you steered that conversation, because it's good that we're having this conversation, because my sort of idea of self-leadership, whenever even beyond a definition, just the tone of that word and the connotation of that word almost seemed like kind of to like a little bit more disciplined and more like reel in the dreams. You kind of need to be self-disciplined. You need to be like lead yourself in a realistic way. But your definition is very open and very that idea of you can be whatever you want, as long as you put your mind to it. I love that. And just pivoting from this, and we can close up with this question. You talked about the leaders of today, right? You've had so much experience in like I said before, in the tech industry, a lot of leadership roles too. In your opinion, and based on your experience and your ideas, is there anything you want to see more from in leadership in the tech industry today?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot. I've been working with a lot of tech companies, and some of them a lot better than others. I do think that companies that really start realizing that in order to become a leader, you really have to start caring for the people that you work with, right? And so that means that the day we become leaders, you could say, is the day we start growing people and caring for people and engaging with people on a personal level, rather than just counting them and making sure that they have your chores. I mean, so there's a clear, distinct, let's say, difference between management and leadership. And I do think that many tech industries, companies, they have a lot of management but very little leadership. So I think
that's huge.
As a leader, you have to provide both mindset, right? Meaning that you have to show that it is important to dream. You have to show that it is important to care for yourself. it is important to demonstrate that you have interest in growing the people that you work with. And the question is, what happens if you don't? People leave.
Yeah.
And the second thing I would say in this is that when you, or let's say, when we as leaders start growing people that are around us, the people we work with, we also start growing the industry. So I do think that there is an important message to any industry. I would say that if the leaders in the industry do not allow dreaming and doesn't have, let's say, challenging achievements to reach for, then the question is, then are you really moving the industry, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that we have a lot of great leaders out there today. I mentioned some of them before. I mean, people, if you asked a lot of people 15 years ago whether you would have electrical vehicles, or if you would have, let's say, a private company would build new space rockets that could fly to Mars, and they were reusable, a lot of people would just have laughed and said, no, this is a state-sponsored program like NASA, for instance, right?
Right. Yeah.
But one individual had that vision and could make it work, for instance. So I think it is, and that's the same with software. It is the same with let's say, the use and applicability of software and the tech. I mean, the mind, there is no limit for the mind. So yeah, so I think that is growing and caring and nourishing the people around you, if you're a leader, is obviously the most important thing. That's my message, I would say. Yeah,
I really appreciate that. I love that, and I agree. I think that wraps up everything on my end. Just to close it up, I just want to say thank you again to Mads for taking time out of his day to talk with me. I think we had a great conversation. I love all the things that we covered. Just giving us a quick plug for our socials right over here. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. We're just at TrueFort. There's lots of exciting things happening with us. Make sure you stay subscribed and stay posted for all those things. Thanks so much for watching, and hope you all will tune in next time.
thank you, Raphael.
Thank you.